Hey everybody. Do you ever have one of those days where you just feel less motivated than other days? Like don't want to do things. I'm human like everyone else, so I have those days, and today's kind of one of those days. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to actually make a video on this. And so I wanted to make a video on kind of how I deal with days when I'm feeling less productive than other days. I think that when you get into anything, whether it be like a business or starting a new project or anything like that, there's a honeymoon period where you're just completely motivated 24/7. Everything you do, you just want to focus, and nothing can detract you from that goal. And then you hit a day and you just don't feel motivated that day. And then what can happen is that can turn into 2 days or 3 days or 4 days. And so to me, that is bad. The feeling of having a day of feeling not as motivated as any other day, I think that that's totally fine. And so I think that everyone needs to take a day and just have a more relaxing day, whatever your schedule is, whether you're working for yourself or you are working for someone else, or you're working in an office, working from home. There's still times when you are less productive, and you need to step away. And then so there's kind of five things that I keep in mind during these days. And the first one is that as I said, it's totally okay to have less productive days as long as you don't make it a habit. Everybody needs time to recharge, and uh, with making it a habit uh, means to me just multiple days and having it go on, and I'll expand on that a little bit. And the second point is to make sure that the day is not completely unproductive. Take care of it. The specific thing here, and the first thing is to take care of anything that's needed that day. So in my instance, getting all my orders shipped out for the day, making sure that there's anything that is critical to list gets listed, those types of things. And then beyond that, I think it goes into the third point, which is try to focus on activities that are still somewhat productive. And then, so for me, making this video, doing these things, I'm not feeling 100% motivated to, for example, like go create a bunch of listings. I have a whole bunch of stuff that I need to list, and I need to do that. And I'll probably make tomorrow a day where I focus heavily on that because I didn't do that today, but it wasn't critical to do today. And so, still, I'm not completely slacking off, not going off and doing things that are totally unproductive. Trying to stay productive, things that are make me somewhat happy, somewhat I enjoy. I'm liking making these videos, which is why I make them. So, and the fourth point is do whatever it is that you really like doing, but never have the time to do. So this kind of counters the third point, but I think it's important to take a small portion of that day and do something that you just really, really, really like doing. That's uh, not related to productivity whatsoever. And then, so to me, if you happen to look at my channel, you'll notice that occasionally I'll post like video game videos. And so uh, those days and these days when I'm feeling totally unproductive, at some point today I'm going to play a very long game of Risk, and it's going to be fun. And that's going to be my activity that I'm going to do today. I don't do it very often because I don't have the time to, because it takes a long time to play a game. But today's the day. And the fifth point is that if you're in extreme burnout mode, then you need to break the pattern. And so it's there's a common, I think it's where you, after the honeymoon period, you have just days where it's like, I just don't feel motivated today. And so you go through this, but there are sometimes other periods where you just are in complete burnout mode. Maybe you worked yourself for a month straight and too much, and no days off. And then so in that instance, you need more than a day. But if you take more than a day in that instance just straight, then that essentially turns into a pattern. Like if you uh, take 2 days and just start playing video games for 2 days straight, then it's much easier to make that become a week straight where that's all you're doing, and then you break other patterns that you had established. And then so how I handle those periods is I essentially do like a 1 day on, 1 day off type system. So if I'm in extreme burnout, take the day. I wouldn't even be doing like videos like this. It'd be just, maybe straight video games. And then the next day, I would force myself to do something like listings all day, or going out and sourcing all day, something like that. And just anything that you can do to make sure that you're on point that next day, and then to keep that rhythm of that going. And then you can take another day and then continue that pattern for as long as you need. And that's kind of the approach that I've found works for me there. Hope that these tips are useful for you guys. And if you're in a similar situation, or you ever find yourself in a similar situation where you're not quite as motivated in that particular day as you want to be, just keep, exactly like I mentioned, keep being productive and keep doing what makes you happy. That's what all of this is really, what it boils down to me. At the end of the day, I'm just doing what makes me happy.